want to talk about one more player very quickly that I think we need to get rid of as soon as possible and find somebody extremely better than him. And that is that centre-back that we have that stands next to Saliba and just looks clumsy as hell, Jez, every single game. We were very fortuitous yesterday not to give a penalty away because his hand was up in an unnatural position. He gave a penalty away last week. If you even go back to the Crystal Palace game, again, his hand was up here and we got lucky not to give a penalty away in that game. And Saliba's been covering him a lot this season and saving his backside. And I know it's a team game and you all have to help each other out and all of that. But this guy, I just don't think he's good enough. For me, he's all right. He's a good player. Yeah, but he does something stupid every game. And that's because I feel that he just can't hack the pressure. When like Kenny said it earlier, when players are coming at you constantly. I mean, if you look at their goal yesterday, the Núñez goal, that was because he's out of position, trying to scoop the ball over his head. Yeah, and it reminded me of Koscielny against Atletico. The only difference was it didn't spank him in the head and put Griezmann clean through. Well, what do you make of Gabriel?
Yeah, he look. I gave him license last season. To me, he hasn't progressed enough to make him, I think, good enough for Arsenal. He'd be all right at another club, or maybe. I'm not going to name a club because that'd be an insult. But
I'll name them. I'll fully name them. Yeah, maybe a Fulham.
Fulham. Leicester could do with him. He's not the grade for Arsenal Football Club, and I think I don't know how long his contract is, but I personally, if I was Arteta, I'd be looking to try and do a deal to get him out of the club in January and bring somebody else in. Swap plus money, somebody of more stature who has, he's not the man for us. He tries hard. It's almost like, how can I put it? It's like a Formula One driver who wants to drive a Formula One car, but can only really drive an old Ford Sierra.
What do you think of him, Kenny? Are we doing him down a little bit too much, or is he actually crap?
The thing about that is that we got heavily criticised.
Shock. When don't we?
we got heavily criticised because we had the temerity to talk about the certain sloppiness in our game, even though we're winning. That we wanted to eradicate that because that will cause us problems, in further down the season. I think in terms of the sloppiness that we called out, Gabriel's the post boy of it, and yes, there are certain times that he is struggling. Don't get me wrong, we have him in the team because, Mikel ultimately, like Pep, wants a left-footed. He wants a centre half, one left-footed and one is right-footed, and he wants, playing out the back and everything. Respect to Pep and Mikel if that's what they want, but he has to be able to defend, and he's very, very careless. Man United, with the Rashford goals, he was definitely fan wanting. Fulham at home with Mitrovic. I don't know what happened. He had a rush of blood. It cost us. And yesterday struggled a bit as well. I think the Spurs one, I'm sorry, but he was part of the problem. And ultimately, he was the last line of defence. But his mate, Granit, who's akin to Roy the Rovers, made a mistake. Yeah, Granit should have helped his mate out there. He should have cleared the ball into Rowe's head. He didn't. He tried to play a bit. So I won't punish him too much for the Spurs penalty because Granit should know better there. But yes, he is going for a bit of a trough, and that's something Mikel's going to have to work on because at the end of the day, he's not always going to have his mate, Saliba, to get him out of trouble because a couple of years back the dream partnership was Saliba and Gabriel, and we always thought we've got this guy who's going to attack the ball. We've got Saliba with his be able to play the ball at the back, and he's like a Rolls-Royce defender. Because we're winning, it's looking good. But again, what's happening, if you look at in some of our games, we're having to have a bit of bounce back ability in certain games because, there's a bit of sloppiness in our play, not just from Gabriel, but he is one of the guilty party when it comes to sloppiness. And further down the line, further down the years, if we are going to compete in the Champions League, win league titles, we can't have him. So I fully agree with you. We are going to need an upgrade in him. But, you know, but that's just natural anyway, because if we do what we demand, you know, i.e. challenge for big titles, it's always going to be a situation. Jez knows this with Liverpool and Paisley, 2 in, 2 out. That's what we're going to need. And he's in danger of being one of the 2 out, not the players that are going to be kept for years on end.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, we definitely need better. I don't think it's helping the fact that Saliba's looked like a Rolls Royce since he's joined the team. It's now highlighting Gabriel's mistakes a hell of a lot more. Now, could you imagine if Saliba weren't in that team this season? We had Ben White as centre back with him. Oh my days, we wouldn't be top. Put it that way.
No.
And by the way, he's played very well at right back. He's been very good at right back this season. As far away from centre back, the better. As far away from our own goal, the better, mate.
You know, my favourite player, Granit. All the time.
Yeah, I've heard that you're gonna get a shirt with his name and number on it, Jez.
It's on the way. It's on the way. No. But yeah, all the time that Granit is playing as he is, yeah, big up to him, fair play. You know, all right. Yes, he got involved in a bit of nonsense, which you know, I just don't get that with players. Don't do that. It's no point. It's cost us in the past. You know, the battle at Old Trafford cost us those points, nearly mucked our season up. Let's just not do that. And that sort of thing does disappoint me. But yeah, fair play to Granit Xhaka, man. Yeah, all day. Yeah, I might have it tattooed on me. Might have it tattooed. Xhaka.
Yeah, go for it. Big up to Mario. He said, "Man went from Arteta out to can anyone stop Arsenal? They got Lee on the ropes. Just remember, we've seen Mourinho in the top in December before. Bro, it's a question, and I'm still Arteta out." Yeah, 9 games is not 38 games. Yeah, and he's won nothing this season. So yeah, come back in May. Judge in May. Big up for the comment, though, mate, and big up to TMB as well. Agreed, Gabriel, but asked to be. Is the stopper. He's asked to be the stopper due to the gap created by attacking on the left side. Requires an aggressive defender. He has the natural aggression, but bad decision making due to age. The thing is, the Premier League's unforgiving. Big up for that donation as well, buddy. Big up to everyone who's chucked him in. I've replied to everyone who has. The thing is, it's unforgiving, man. One little split second, and that it's a goal, or you've given a penalty away. Yeah, and I just think like he just looks erratic. Like not just this season, but since he's been here. Look at Old Trafford last season or the season before when he could have been sent off after Rashford spun him, then Greenwood spun him, and he got away without a second yellow. Yeah, Theo Walcott spun him last season against Southampton. You know, he's always on the halfway line, like this, trying to get. Like, I understand he wants to be aggressive, but he hasn't got the agility because of his size to do it against tricky, quick players. So why don't you just stand off a little bit, read the game a bit better, and learn from the guy standing next to you, who's obviously clearly a lot better centre back. Like, why don't you do that? Maybe he's being told he's got to go and press halfway every game. I don't know, but for me, he ain't good enough, and he's going to cost us a few games this season. But it is what it is. Big up to Isco. Gabriel's mistakes make Saliba vulnerable. It does. Luckily, it's not really mattered so far this season. But if you look at that Diaz, the goal that Nunes scored yesterday, Saliba read that danger real quick and went out to Diaz. Yeah, because he realised that Gabriel had cocked up again. Yeah, and he runs straight out to him. But now Gabriel couldn't get back in. And what's Saliba supposed to do? Let him just run in on goal and have a shot, or go away from Nunes and leave Nunes wide open to go and try and block the cross? He was caught in no man's land, Saliba. I'm not blaming him for that goal, by the way. That's all on Gabriel. The second one is all on him. Well, it's him and Odegaard. Odegaard jumping around in the centre circle, doing absolutely nothing. Didn't press, didn't chase. He was jogging. Yeah, by the way. Go back and look at that again. He was jogging. And then I think the ball went to Jota. Saliba come running out like a headless chicken. Bang, goal. Just like that. Inside 3 seconds from halfway, bang, goal. And man, like, I don't know. Like, I think if we go and get a proper defender, like there's a level above Gabriel, yeah, and put him next to Saliba, I think we're solid. We'd be proper solid. Yeah, because I think the rest of that back line this season has been solid.